Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Glenn Lungarini, who's the Executive Director of the CAS CIAC. Sir.
Pleasure to see you
buddy.
again, Pete. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
Things are going well.
Yeah.
We're excited to be back. Great school year off. Everybody's out playing, and we're almost back to normal here,
It's
Pete.
been a while.
Yeah.
Been a while.
Been a while. I haven't been able to get in. I think we saw you one time last year, just as we were starting to take the masks off.
Exactly.
So it's good to enter into a sports season without having to put out a 30-page COVID document. So.
Oh, trust me, I'm sure you're glad it's over.
Absolutely.
So what's new with CIAC?
Pete, things are going real well right now. We're off to a great fall season. We've been blessed with good weather as we've started out. So, our kids have been out, been active, getting back on the fields, having some very competitive matchups right now. We're excited for moving forward into our tournament time. As we get towards the end of October into November. Hard to believe. We're going to be in October at the end of this week.
I know.
4 weeks into our seasons already. The school year, we're almost halfway through that first marking period already. So things are going very well. People have been watching football a little bit too. We've had some early alliance matchups, which have pitted some people from across the state by kind of record and by school size together. We've seen some great matchups with that as well. So it's been a wonderful start to the year, Pete.
Absolutely, and things are probably just going to go up from here.
We expected and we hope that, as you said, things are going well. We're really excited with things like boys soccer, girls soccer. We just signed a 3-year extension to be at Trinity Health Stadium where the Hartford Athletic plays. So, what a beautiful facility out there. We continue to look and search for venues that are either professional quality or college level venues to bring our state championships to. We just think it's a great experience whenever we can to expose our student athletes to the college environment, try to promote that career and college pathway that really is an education-based philosophy in what we do in interscholastic experiences.
Now, is the Trinity Health Stadium really as nice as it seems? I've only seen it on television.
It is, and it's going to be even more dynamic this year. Last year when we played there, we were just getting to, they were just having the final pieces of their video board installed. So as we come out this year, we're excited that the package that we have with them will include use of the video board. Again, it's just going to be a great experience for our kids and our fans out at that stadium. The folks over at the Hartford Athletic and at Trinity Health Stadium are just great to work with, wonderful group of professionals, and it's going to be great to offer that facility to our kids.
Now, from what I understand, there's a shot clock rule.
That's going to be coming in the winter. So as we, when we tip off basketball this year, it will be the last season that we're playing without a shot clock requirement. And then when we get to the 23-24 year, that's when we'll have the shot clock implemented. So, Pete, that was a great process that we went through. And I think, given viewers and the public an understanding of this, it really speaks to how CIAC operates when proposals come in. So that proposal came to the basketball committee to implement a shot clock. It was brought out of committee, vetted with athletic directors and high school coaches, boys and girls coaches across the state. The initial feedback came back with a lot of concern about how this would look and the cost impact with doing this at the freshman, JV, and varsity level. So with that feedback, the committee looked at it. The proposal was redesigned to be required at the varsity level only, but may be implemented at the sub-varsity levels if schools agree upon that before the game. With that, went back out to membership, and this time we went to our member school principals because there is going to be a small fiscal impact to this. It'll be about $2,000 to purchase and install the shot clocks. And then, whatever you're paying an individual as a game worker, as a score clock operator, as a score book official, that'll be about the same cost probably for the shot clock operator. So there'll be a small financial impact there. So we did ask each of our member school principals to cast one vote per school. Came back overwhelming, to support that. So we'll have that implemented 23-24 year. Interesting note with that too, the National Federation of High Schools, which we use all of their rules as the governing rules of our sports. This was not part of their rule set prior to this year.
Really?
So the NFHS modified that states can adopt the shot clock and still be compliant with NFHS rules starting with this season. Prior to that rule change, only 11 states in the country used the shot clock.
Right.
Since that rule change, when we adopted it a few weeks ago, we were the 11th state to adopt it since that rule change. So now you have 22 states that will be using it. So, there was this myth and misconception out there that Connecticut was way behind the times and not having a shot clock. But, the facts were there were only 11 states that used it prior to the NFHS rule change. And now in the past year, we're seeing, 11 more come on board, and we expect even more than that throughout this year to adopt it for the subsequent years.
Absolutely. And fun fact, the executive director of NFHS was you before you were executive director of CIAC.
Right. So, not me, thank God, but that was, Carissa Niehoff, Dr. Niehoff was
Great
my
person.
Predecessor here in Connecticut. She certainly set the stage and is big shoes to fill. So, I try to live up to her legacy every day, but Carissa, being in the position she's in, is always available as a resource for me to give a call to and talk things through with, and we're just so proud of to have Carissa leading the country up at the National Federation, and has done an outstanding job.
So tell us a little bit about how the National Federation and the CIAC work together.
Yeah, so the National Federation is the group of all high school state athletic associations, and there's one in every state, right? So it's not like there's a lot of us out there, but so having the federation there to bring us together and look at recommended policy, look at sporting trends is extremely valuable to us, and also their work with professional organizations, their proximity and partnerships with the NCAA. Their offices in Indianapolis are actually connected with the NCAA buildings. So it creates a nice pathway of conversation and pathway for kids as we're going from the high school level for that small percentage. Again, you're looking at 6-7% of high school athletes that move on to play at the collegiate level. But, they really provide a lot of good information of how to make that transition, good resources for us and good resources for kids.
Now, as far as last time you and I were together, we both had masks on, and we were both talking about masks with the sporting venues and the sporting, going out and supporting your local sports. Now, how has things been since you and I last sat down together? Obviously, we're both unmasked, so things must be going well.
We are, and hard to believe it's less than a year, Pete.
I know.
And so we were able to take masks off towards the end of the winter season last year, and things went very well. As you know, throughout COVID, we worked with the CSMS Sports Medicine Committee very closely to make sure that we were staying up to date with their recommendations, and the Department of Health was a tremendous resource from Commissioner Giuffani. Right now, when she stepped on board as well, she picked right up where our partnership was with Commissioner Gifford, and Commissioner Giuffani was always available, and really we had a wonderful working partnership to get us from that transition of wearing masks to being able to compete without masks. We maintain a very low transmission rate all throughout COVID and provided safe experiences for kids in sports. And we're better for it now. I think even on the side where we are now, listen, we're back in schools, we're not wearing masks. But this is the first time we really haven't been masked in schools in almost 2 years, where we're going into a winter season, right? So we do expect some respiratory illness to be there. We do expect to, maybe see some things that we haven't seen in the past year because we were masked at this time. But I think we're better equipped and have a better understanding because of those experiences to work through it, get our kids back on the floor and fields quickly, and keep them engaged in their extracurricular activities.
Now, as far as CIAC spectators for sporting events, things are going things are going well, being a spectator, sitting at a football game?
You know, Pete, things are always challenging, but I think are going well. We're seeing, again, good creativity and innovation around the state. One of the things that CIAC did several years back was create a program called the CAS CIAC program. Okay. And the idea of this CAS CIAC program was that each school would create groups of students that would be their CAS CIAC student leaders, and kind of build the expectations of good sportsmanship from what we were seeing on the field to what we were seeing in the stands to the way that your schools can engage with communities.
Right.
And that CAS CIAC program, you know, I think is a great example of where, when our schools are able to bring student leadership voice into the expectations, where we see peers follow along. And we've seen some good examples where, you know, when comments happen or when things happen that really shouldn't, that we see some kids policing themselves. We see you know, parents policing themselves, and that's important. Words matter. We ran a PSA campaign last year as well.
Yes, you did.
On the importance of words, right? And not only, you know, can negative words negatively impact, but positive words can positively impact. So that goes both ways. We've seen the FCIAC this year institute a no names, no numbers policy, where, you know, they have a they're encouraging all of their schools, and we've seen some signs up as well where, you know, it's just a reminder to the people in the stands. Can't call out a player's name, can't call out a player's number, you know, keep it positive. You're not there to detract and have a negative influence on games. So a lot of effort is going into creating a positive environment for kids. And it really is important, Pete. You know, we've dealt with so much, and mental health is such a major topic and an issue right now. We really need to be doing everything we can to create positive environments and experiences for kids.
Absolutely, and I'm like you said, being a spectator, you got to be respectable of it in the stand. No calling out players' names, numbers. Be respectable, and more importantly, have a good time at the games.
Right. You know, cheer for your team, not against your opponents.
Exactly. Exactly. So, what are we in week 4 of football season, I believe? Football season starting week 4 right now. Again, some great games early in these first 3 weeks. We've seen some incredible matchups and some upsets. You know, some great finishes that we have. I think you know, Southington's finish going for 2 on the last play of the game. You know, just very exciting. And it's just seen some great stuff. But and I think what's great this year as well is, you know, we talked earlier about the shot clock, but another proposal that came in from the Connecticut High School Coaches Association last year was to increase the number of divisions that we have in football. So we have 6 divisions in football this year. That proposal came from the Connecticut High School Coaches Association. Again, vetted out with our member schools. Tremendous support. You know, nearly 90% of coaches supported instituting the 6 divisions. So that was adopted into this year's playoff format. So even though there's been, you know, some great games and some upsets where we had 4 divisions, and a team with 1 or 2 losses, you know, early in the season may feel defeated, like they didn't really have an opportunity to get into the playoffs after that. Right. That's not the case anymore. With 6 divisions, it's spread out. We're going to see some 8-2 teams. We will see some 7-3 teams finding their ways into playoff scenarios. And so, you know, I think it's a great opportunity that we're going to get more kids playoff experiences, and it's never a bad thing to give those kids those opportunities. Lennon, would you mind sticking around for another segment? Be happy to. All right, we'll be right back.
You matter.
You matter.
You matter.
And your words matter too.
Your words matter.
What you say in the hallways at school or in the student section at a game matters.
Words can be hurtful.
Words can be offensive.
Words can leave scars.
Words can also inspire.
Support.
And uplift.
You and your words.
Are they both important?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide. It provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Glenn Lungarini from the CIAC. Glenn, welcome back.
Thanks.
Thanks, bud. So, Glenn, let's open up this segment talking about heat illness.
Yeah, you know, important topic, and we've seen some legislation over the past couple of years, and as of July 1st of this year, all that legislation is in full effect. And so two important pieces of that. One, every school is required to have an emergency action plan for all of the sites in which they participate. And this is, again, just awareness and understanding if a tragic event happens, how can we respond to that? And, you know, great example for you, a couple years ago, there was a basketball game going on. An official had a cardiac incident in that game. And because the school had an emergency action plan that was in place, they were able to stop the game, clear the gym, get in the meantime, get the AED hooked up to the individual, and before paramedics arrived, and it saved that official's life. So having that emergency action plan really can make a tremendous difference. In this case, you know, we think that it absolutely contributed to saving that person's life.
Wow.
We also have heat illness, and you know, heat illness is another place that legislation has gone into full effect this year. So heat illness, heat stroke, we read about tragic situations from across the country, you know, all the time of, you know, somebody that has died, an athlete that has died from experiencing heat stroke.
Right.
And that is an illness that is 100% survivable if it is detected and treated quickly. And so what the Connecticut legislation has done is put requirements in place for knowing and understanding the signs, symptoms of heat illness, and then the immediate response and protocols for treating with that. What CIAC has stepped in to do and help our member schools is we've worked with the Corey Stringer Institute and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Trainers and the Connecticut State Medical Society Sports Med Committee to develop protocols around heat illness education, recognition, and treatment. We've also provided all of our member schools with cold water immersion tubs. We did that project 2 years ago.
All right.
So everybody has the equipment that they need to be able to treat heat illness. In partnership with the National Federation of High Schools that we mentioned in segment one, they provided Connecticut with 20 wet bulb globe thermometers. Those are thermometers that are used to measure heat index that can tell us, based on the zone that we live in Connecticut, whether or not it's safe for our kids to be out on the field and participating, or if we need to institute more water breaks. There's a great kind of chart that goes with reading what that thermometer reading says and then how we should act. So we got 20 of those devices from the NFHS. The CIAC purchased an additional 125 of those that we were able to distribute out to our member schools. So every member school that has reported to us that they needed one of those devices have it. Some of our schools already have them. So again, it was an opportunity to make sure every school, you know, regardless of resources, have the gold standard of heat illness treatment, heat illness education, and heat illness prevention, because that's an injury that is, again, it's 100% survivable.
Absolutely.
And so we don't want to see one of those in Connecticut. So, you know, we're proud to partner with the Corey Stringer Institute, the Connecticut Association of Athletic Trainers, and the CSMS Sports Med Committee to get that to our schools.
Now, what is the Corey Stringer Institute?
Corey Stringer, I tell you, that might be another great segment for you one day, Pete. The Corey Stringer Institute is located at the University of Connecticut, and they are the premier research facility on heat illness. They also do a lot of work with athletic trainers and athletic training services as well. You know, Corey Stringer was a professional football player who died of heat stroke. So, in his namesake, this institute exists to, again, help prevent others from having that same tragic ending because of heat illness, because it is survivable. So, the team up there at the Corey Stringer Institute are great partners. You know, we are fortunate to have them right here in Connecticut, and really fortunate to have their willingness to work with CIAC and help us provide the very best in care for our student athletes.
Now, last time you and I were together, we talked about the winter sports season and the basketball tournament up at Mohegan Sun. How'd that go?
Basketball tournament was outstanding. It's always one of the I think one of the marquee events of the year when you have a facility like that and it's really the facility itself, as you know, is outstanding, Pete.
Absolutely.
But it's not the facility that makes the experience. It's the people behind it.
Oh, absolutely.
Tom Cantone and his team at Mohegan Sun, sure. There's just not a better group of people, to work with. And it's a world-class facility because there's world-class people there. I believe last year it was named the top indoor arena in the country again. So his team continues to just put out incredible experiences up there, and they are great community partners with us. In fact, we have such a great experience there that we're bringing a new event to Mohegan Sun. December 27th this year will be a CIAC showcase event. We have 2 teams from Connecticut boys and girls, so we're going to have let's see if I can remember the teams here, Pete. We have on the boys' side, we have I believe it's East Catholic, and we have Windsor High School, who will be playing the top public school and private school from Rhode Island. Wow. And then we have Holy Cross High School on the girls' side and Hamden High School on the girls' side.
There you go.
That will be playing the top private and public school from Rhode Island on that side. So we're excited to bring this Connecticut, Rhode Island showcase to Mohegan Sun and the Mohegan Sun Arena. That's going to be right there in that holiday week, to Tuesday, December 27th. Okay. Great time for people to come out, enjoy the incredible facility at Mohegan Sun and see some great basketball and support their Connecticut teams.
Now, how'd the idea of that come about?
That's been something that's been actually talked about for quite a long time. Okay. I think that may even date back prior to Mike Savage, who was the executive director before Carissa. Okay. And really looking at ways that we can tie into some of our New England neighbors and have some showcase events. So as this kept talking about last year, we invited the executive director from Rhode Island to come out during our CIAC championships, so just to see the arena, see what it looks like as we're playing our events. So he was able to come up for the day on Saturday and saw some great games and saw the experience and thought, that this would be good for Rhode Island kids to be part of as well. So that's just the start, playing 2 boys games, 2 girls games. We may be able to grow that in the future. We may be able to grow it to other states as well. So again, we have great partners at Mohegan Sun. So if we have opportunities we can give kids, we'd love to take advantage and do that.
Now, how many towns do you guys participate with in the state of Connecticut?
Oh, so we have 184 member schools. Okay. There are some towns that have multiple high schools in the same district. I believe we have 169 school districts in Connecticut. We'll see that shrink slightly. We do know that out in the Berkshires, there's 2 schools in 2024 that will be combining to form a new regional school district. So we'll shortly see Region 20 come into effect. So we'll drop down to 168 school districts, and CIAC membership will drop by 1 because those two schools are combined. But it's a nice state where it's a small state, Pete. So it's not, we don't face some of those really significant issues like it's a 2-hour plane ride to get somewhere. If you're playing out in the islands in Hawaii, or you're playing in Alaska, or you're trying to run a state championship in Texas, where it's a little bit further. I mean, in Connecticut, we're fortunate that you could be playing for a state championship, or to have 2 teams come together and play. We're basically 2 hours border to border, in a drive in Connecticut. So it's nice to have everybody in an area that we can play some great games and have some great championship events and be big enough where we can really have a big impact on people, but be small enough that we can provide outstanding experiences.
Absolutely. And if people want more information on the CIAC, they can go to the website and everything's there, I'm assuming.
It's all right there. So just CIACsports.com. Love to see, again, people come out to the game, support your local schools, especially as we're back and we have good attendance now. So please come out, support the kids, support your schools. Makes a tremendous difference to those players.
And more importantly, be respectable.
That's right. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's it. Cheer for them.
Absolutely. We got a little bit more time, but before we forget and before we say goodnight, and I forget, a mutual friend of ours was here recently.
That's right. You know, Pete, I think that's why I haven't been on your show as much as I was in the past, because, you know, I poached one of your great employees there, and
yes.
You know, we took Christy Kaminsky over to CAS and CIAC, and so your loss was certainly our gain, and the gain for people around the state. And Christy has produced some outstanding work for us at CIAC. We're incredibly fortunate and lucky to have her talents.
And from what I hear, Pete Mezzetti had something to do with that. So Pete Mezzetti is actually still waiting for his fringe benefit of a thank you from either Christy.
I didn't want to say it. That was the whole interview. You know, every question we asked, you just said, well, Pete Mezzetti taught me everything I know, and that was it. We said, you're hired right there.
There you go.
Right
Glenn Lungarini from CIAC. Thanks for some time. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate
you got it. On behalf of Glenn Longarini, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.